Being a Maker's fan, I felt like this one was worth going on a little bit more about, so we're going to do it in long form. This is the new Maker's Mark wood finishing series, the Heart release. I'm a big fan of Maker's Mark, even being a Maker's ambassador, so I was really sad to hear they were ending the wood finishing series with the BEP of last year. It was a high note, it was a very good way to finish it, I really, really liked that bottle, and arguably it was the best wood finishing series from the last couple of years. They then came out with the cellar aged, which I was very excited to get, but admittedly just a little bit disappointed because the price point is really high on it, about twice that of the wood finishing series. This wood finishing series is going to be back in that $75-ish range. It's pretty close to what they were before, kind of depending on where you're at. But it was a very good, very unique, and I'm glad that I got it. It's a really great Maker's product, but I didn't know if I wanted to spend that much money for a Maker's product just because it had some age on it. So when this came out, I was very excited about this because I had my suspicions that they weren't going to really finish the wood finishing series. They weren't going to stop doing it, but that it was going to evolve, and that's what it's done. You can see that they've put it in the bottle from the cellar aged, but went with a full label again. Labeling is quite a bit different. I like that they changed up the bottle because in the old wood finishing series bottle, you've got all of those private picks that all come in the same bottle, and quite frankly, it got a little bit convoluted. Lots of offerings, lots of bottles. They're all over the place, and I honestly never buy them because there are so many of them, and it's so hard to decipher one from the other. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to get, so I just really don't buy them. But this one actually is pretty dang good. Now, stick around for the rest, because I'm going to tell you why I think that. So the Heart release is meant to be a celebration and a recognition of the team over at Maker's Mark. And this one is specifically finished with 10 French oak staves, which I think is very interesting because that is exactly the same as what the BEP says that it is done with. But I will tell you right now, spoiler alert, they are a little different. This one does come in at a slightly higher proof at 111.7, and I believe this one was 109. And some change. Yeah, 109.6. Not a significant proof difference, but just FYI. On the nose on this one, I immediately get a marshmallow note and a peach note that just jumped right out. Sometimes you get very subtle notes. I have to spend a lot of time with it. These ones jumped. The peach note comes right out at me. There's also a nice powdered cocoa note that I do get a lot of times on Makers. By comparison, those notes are not as dramatic on the BEP. And I really do think I prefer the nose on this. And it really hasn't had a chance to sit a whole lot and open up. And I already like it a little bit better. On the palate, I get chocolate and raspberry. There's kind of a maple syrupy note in there that's really nice. It's sweet, it's rich. It's got a wonderful mouthfeel, as Maker's often does. There's kind of a sweet bread note. It's just very pleasant. I would say it's very sweet, but there also is some spiciness to it, some prickle, a little bit of alcohol heat, a tiny bit of hug. Not off-putting, not distracting. This really is very well balanced. The finish on it, it's reasonably long. It's oily. It's cinnamon and chocolate, maybe a little bit of clove, kind of some sweet oak notes. Back to chocolate. It's really, really delicious. I like this a lot. Obviously, with that weeded bourbon mash bill, I am getting a vanilla note kind of throughout that's kind of there and kind of comes and goes a little bit. Compared to the BEP, I think the BEP, those baking spices, the cinnamon, kind of jumps out a little bit more. I do think that makes for a little bit longer of a finish on the BEP, only because that spiciness kind of lingers around. But it's not as pleasant overall as the Heart release. The Heart release is everything that I want in a Maker's Mark. That sweet weeded bourbon note, enough proof to give you a bold flavor, a great mouthfeel, and a balance of sweet notes and spicy notes throughout. This is a great offering. I'm going to go ahead and say, and I haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time with this, but I think this is better than the BEP. That would make this the best wood finishing series release of the last few years. I'm hoping that it's going to be widely available, or at least as available as the other wood finishing series, because I really want all of you guys to be able to get your hands on this and try it. If you're a Makers fan, it's an absolute buy. I don't think you're going to have to go into the secondary for this one, But if you have to, I would probably pay up to $100 for this. I don't think you should probably have to, but I guess it depends on the area you're at. I was lucky enough to be able to get this one for just a hair over SRP, which I thought that was very fair. So yeah, if you're a fan of Maker's Mark, you definitely got to get your hands on this. I absolutely love it, but I'm a big Maker's Mark geek. So there you go. There's the Maker's Mark Wood Finishing Series, the Heart Release. It's not going anywhere. Cool little side note, I don't know if you can see it on there, but it does say 1 of 5. So it appears to be that we're going to get 4 more releases of something with this label in this bottle. I hope they're all as good as this one. After this one, I'm gonna have to buy all 4 of the other ones. I'm sorry, Mrs. Whiskeybonded. This one's good enough that it's going to compel me to do the others. So there you go.